Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of What You Reading. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Nita Zay. Welcome back, guys. So this week we did a story that is called His Love is One in a Billion, and it's by Miss Lady P. This story is available on Audible, on Kindle, probably at Barnes and Noble. You can find this book pretty much anywhere.
And
So
it's free.
it's free and it is good.
It's good.
It is good. It is good. All right, so let's get into it.
Okay, guys, so in the beginning of this story, it's a girl. Her name is Giovanna. So Giovanna is in the hospital. She is having her baby, but she is stressed out because, baby, where is her baby daddy? He is not there. He is not in attendance. So she ended up having this baby. The baby ended up passing away. And her man still ain't let this girl go through it. She had to like literally be there for a couple of days and everything. He still never did show up. So when she left there,
Wait, no, he did end up showing up. He showed up
oh
and
did he?
they were bringing the baby back in because she had all these clothes that she wanted the baby to be put in because she was planning on taking a living baby home. So she asked him to put the clothes on the baby and he walked in and was like, "Why is our baby blue? This is your fault. You killed our baby."
Oh,
Blah, 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 blah. He was so mean to that girl.
but then she ended up going back to her mama house
She
first, and
did.
then
Yeah,
okay,
she
so
did.
she ended up going back to her mom's house first or whatever. She stayed a couple of days there, and then she still hadn't like as she was there, still wasn't hearing from him at all. So she was like, let me go over to the house. Okay. So she goes over to the house, honey. And when she get there, baby, she is greeted by another woman. Not only is she greeted by another woman, she greeted by another woman in her baby that was supposed to be born room with another baby.
With another baby. She was just trying to get her clothes and stuff.
Right,
Mm.
so she ready to, she ready to fight this girl because like, who are you? And she was like, oh, I'm his girlfriend. This his baby. Bop bop bop. And then, what's his name?
Miko, D'Amico,
Yeah, D'Amico, that's his name. So
D'Amico.
D'Amico came in and D'Amico was like, girl, what you doing here? And she was like, I'm trying to figure out who is this woman in my baby's room or whatever. He was like, oh, she did what you could never do. All I asked you to do is to bring my seed in this world, and you couldn't even do that. So since you couldn't even do that, then you got to go. And she ended up trying to fight him. He beat her up real good, and she ended up having to leave.
Because he ended up choking her out and she peed on herself. And the only reason that he got up off of her is because the other girl was like, "Hey, don't kill her in here." And he's like, "The next time I see you, I'm gonna kill you. So don't ever show your face around here again."
Like it got crazy that quick.
So quick.
So she ended up going back to her mama house being depressed, cried for days, days, days. Days turned into a year. So what she was doing, she was going back and forth to the grave site and she would like lay on the grave site hours and days at a time. And so but what she didn't know is she kind of was being watched at the same time. She didn't know that. So a year had went by and she was like taking a cake. She had like a cake, balloons, everything, basically having a party out there by herself. And she was like, she looked over, she was like, Dad, I hate to waste this cake and I don't need to eat this cake. I didn't got too big because she was always kind of like health conscious anyway about her weight because she thought she was too big, but she
Yeah,
wasn't really
because
big, but
her ex-man kept telling her that she was fat even though she was pregnant.
right.
Crazy.
So then she ended up, she looked over and she sees some people at another gravesite. So she was like, hey, y'all want this cake? I can't eat it anyway. Do y'all want it? And then the like man that you visibly could see is like the boss was like, nah, he ain't want it. But the other two men that was with him was like, yeah, give me that cake.
Yeah, I take some
So
cake too.
they, yeah, so she ended up giving them the cake and, she left. So she went back home and she was like with her mama. Her mama was like, girl, you get ready to go to Atlanta. Pack your bags. You have a flight to Atlanta. Now she live in where? Chicago, I think.
She's
Yeah,
in,
Chicago.
yeah,
I think it was Chicago. So
yeah.
she lived in Chicago. Her mom was like, girl, you about to fly with your daddy's side in Atlanta because you need a new scenery. I understand your babies. And she was crying. She was like, no, I can't leave my baby, this, that, and the third. And she was like, I understand you want to stay here with your baby, but I will be here. You need to just go on to Atlanta with your family, just a whole new life. So she ended up doing that. She ended up flying to Atlanta, was greeted by her stepmama, and because her daddy wasn't there, her daddy was into some, he was in the business, the business, the street business. So
Yeah,
he was out and about.
yeah.
So and they had money, even
Money,
the ghetto
money,
grandma, even the ghetto grandma. So she
money.
ended up like going there. She seen her grandma. She ended up meeting her cousins and all that. Her grandma was like, "Hey, honey, put this 100,000 in your pockets."
Mind you, her daddy had already set her up with a whole bank account with a bunch of money in it and gave her a whole house that was all
Mm-hmm.
set up and had her a job.
Yep. So she was supposed to be a receptionist, but as like days went by, she went to go like start working or whatever, and she ended up finding out that her stepmom was like, "Girl, this is your business. This is for you. We're giving it to you. I don't have any kids of my own. You are my daughter, so this is your business." So she was like, "Bet I'm set. You, I got a business. I got a house, a new car." mil- Thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm set. So, she came as time went by, she met her cousin. Well, she had already met her cousin Mona Lisa. And Mona Lisa is a trip. Okay.
Yes.
And Mona Lisa was like, girl, come up here, let's smoke this blunt together and let's go to the club. And she was like, no, I'm getting ready to go to work the next morning. I want to be ready for work or whatever. She was like, girl, come over here. We're about to go to the club. So she ended up going to the club that night. She went to the club with her home with two of her homegirls. It was Mona Lisa, Jaya, I think, and another girl,
Yeah, I
I
remember that
think.
girl name.
But they were like sisters or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, she ended up going with all them. She see this man looking at her. She looking at him. She's like, he sure look familiar. I don't know who he is, but he fine. He keeps staring at me. So she ended up getting them drinks in herself. She looking at him, eyeing her. She eyeing him. And then, something broke out in the club and
Well,
she ran out. What happened?
so what happened? Sorry, I had to turn light. I was too much light. Um, so she was in there chilling, dancing, and minding her business, and then her
Uh-huh.
ex-man rolled up on her in Atlanta, and he was on her and was like, "I can't believe you thought you could be out here having a good time and all that stuff. You don't deserve this because you murdered our baby." He's in her face or whatever, and he's
Like
like,
dragged her out by her hair.
yeah, so then shots rang out in the club and then they all ran out, but he took her with him because they were like
Uh-huh.
that moment. Well, the other dude that she had seen that was fine, he saw that happen, so he was peeping it. So the ex took her in the car and they driving and she trying to fight this man in the car because he's talking a bunch of shit to her and she like this motherfucker got me messed up. So they in the
Uh-huh.
fighting, duking it out. They get into a car accident, car flip over, all that stuff. He fucked up, she fucked up. Somebody ends up taking her out the car, and then she's gone. You know where she go to the man house, to the man house that she's seen in Chicago and seen in the bar.
And she wake up like a couple days later. Now,
Days
mind you, the
later.
family don't even know where she at.
Now we've been looking for her. Everybody's like, we don't know what
They
happened,
be on her.
girl. Crazy, crazy.
So she wake up. It end up being billionaire. I love his name. So it end up being billionaire uh Balmain. That's his name.
Yeah, billion
And
something.
yeah, and she wake up and she was like, where am I? He was like, you here with me and you my wife.
So, backstory, when Homegirl was in the hospital, Billion was also in the hospital because his wife had just passed away from cancer. And so
Mm-hmm.
he's seen Giovanni
Giovanna.
Giovanna there while that was happening. But his wife told him before she passed away, she had cancer. I think I said that. But before she passed away, she was like, "Hey,
Uh-huh.
I'm a new wife. Everything will be fine. Like, you better go out there. You get married again. You gonna have everything that you need and that you deserve." And he was like, "Bet." Well, he seen Giovanna, and Giovanna looked just like his wife, his deceased wife. So when he seen her, he was like, "This is obviously the girl that my wife sent me." So he took her because he was like, "This is gonna be my wife," and that's just what it is. Well, we didn't. We ended up finding out like later on, his homeboy wasn't like mentally stable, the most mentally stable, and so he was kind of operating off of some weird shit, but like it ended up working out.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, he had been watching her ever since that day at the hospital. So he when he seen her in Atlanta, he was like, "Dang, this is so crazy! Like this is my girl." So he followed her, and that's why she was at the house. But everybody been looking for this girl, and so he go to the daddy because he know the daddy. The daddy worked for him because Billion is this big time like drug and arms dealer, and her
Uh-huh.
daddy worked for him, but he didn't know that that was her daddy. And so I mean, he did at some point, and he goes to the daddy house and like, "Hey man, I got your daughter. She's fine. She's safe." And he like, "Bro, you can't just be snatching up people's kids. What are you doing?
Literally.
You just be taking people's kids." Like, so he was like, "Yeah, I get it, but like that's my wife." And he's like, "Girl, like, or not girl." He's like, "Man, like, okay, she's okay. We need to see her. Like, we need to confirm that she's good." So they go to the house. She like, "Hey y'all." They like, "Girl, what's going on?" And she's kind of having that conversation, but she still don't know what's up.
Uh-huh.
So, that was the backstory to the story, real quick.
Yeah. So she ended up like asking him, can she leave? Because is she here against her will? He was like, no, you can leave whenever you want. Because he was getting ready to just keep her there. He didn't even want her to leave at all. So he ended up being like, now you can go or whatever. I ain't heard you against your will. She dipped out of there, right? So she dipped out of there, went back to her mama's house. Don't She went back to her house, but her mama flew in. That's what that was. Her mama flew in. So her mama was staying there. She was like upstairs, doing everything. Her mama called her and she was like, what's up? She was like, come downstairs. You got some company. The man is up in the kitchen. And she was like, Mama, I don't even know this man. This man low key crazy. And you got him. He calling me his wife. I don't even know that man. So why you even got him here?
He been
And
sending
his mom,
gifts. He been sending gifts to the house. He been doing all types
yeah.
of stuff, showing up because he's like he wanted to apologize for taking her because they was like, "Bro, you were tripping." And he's like, "Yeah, I probably was tripping," but he was still doing some weird shit. So he kept sending gifts and he kept showing
Mhm.
up because he was convinced that that was about to be his boo.
Right, because of what his wife said, I'm gonna see somebody, and because she looked so much like his wife, like everybody collectively looked at her and knew that she looked just like his wife Brielle.
Mm-hmm.
So she went downstairs and she was like, Mom, why is you kicking it with this man? He up here eating food and stuff, and we don't even know this man like that. And she was like, you need to chill, first of all, because this man saved you. So I'm thanking him for saving your life. We didn't even know you was that girl, so calm down. So she was like, okay, whatever. So he ended up eating his food and getting ready to leave. He ended up signing her like cash because her hair was all messed up. She couldn't do anything because her arm was broken. She had a cast on her arm. And he was like, I'm gonna send a glam team to glam you over. She was like, I don't need no glam team. And it was just so funny to me because the mom and she was like, my mama brushed my hair. And her mom was like, girl, you better get that glam team,
But that's
baby.
him, girl. I'm not trying to do. If this man want to treat you, let this man treat you. She like, girl, I
Treat you,
don't know this
girl.
man. What you mean?
It was just so funny to me because her mom was like, girl, you better get that glam team.
She was not playing. She was like, "Girl, I am not playing with you. Get all you can."
Right. Yeah, so he was like, girl, I'm gonna send the glam team, whether you like it or not, whatever, whatever. And all that good stuff. So he ended up like leaving and then like her mama got into it for a little bit. Then he ended up calling her back on the phone and was like, he wanted her to I forgot what he wanted.
I don't
The
remember.
hell he wanted.
He was worrisome. I do know that.
Right. But anyway, she ended up I don't even know if she ended up. Did she end up going with him? I think she ended up going with him, didn't she? Where'd she go?
So he ended up wanting to like take her out on dates and stuff like that because he was like, "Hey, I kind of did this wrong, and I do apologize about that." Because like I said, he kept
Mhm.
gifts and stuff like that. So he was like, "But I do want to like actually get to know you and all this." So he asked her out on a date, and so I think
Mhm.
kind of what kind of started the whole thing. But something that we got to mention, which is not super important, but it's kind of next. It's not really important at all, but I just want to talk about it. So, homegirl's mom comes down there and she got beef with the stepmom and the daddy because she like this bitch took my man, but also like you not that's not your daughter, so don't be trying to act like this is your daughter. And
Mhm. The
that's the thing
pettiness.
later on,
Yeah, the pettiness of them was unreal.
girl.
But go ahead, girl.
So they go on a date and they're enjoying each other, they're enjoying each other's time and stuff like that. And so they ended up I can't remember if they ended up oh, I think we skipped a part, but it's okay. They ended up having sex like real early on when she was still
Real
out.
fast. They got drunk or something when they went on
Yeah,
that date, I think.
when he had her at the house when she after the accident and stuff like that, they had got it in at some point and she went home. But then she didn't like hear from him for a while. So when
Well,
they
she
went
woke up. She woke up. That's what happened. She woke up in his bed and he was
right.
not there.
And then
And he was not, and he did not answer the phone. And the maid, Brielle's maid, said, "Oh, he said you can get up and go because he get you a Uber,
right.
skedaddle."
And so then she didn't see him or hear from him for a while. So then that night that she saw him she saw him somewhere else and then that kind of like re-sparked stuff or whatever.
Yeah, but so, but
Homegirl was
what she
sitting.
didn't know is he. I'm sorry. Go
No, you're
ahead.
okay. Go ahead.
Now, what she didn't know is he was actually gone for treatment
Which,
because it didn't last a long time. But he went for treatment for
yeah,
his mental.
yeah, that whole
That's why
thing.
she had heard from him. But go ahead, girl.
So now they're deciding like they wanna maybe be with one another. So that's kind of like the thing. So they're like, okay, we're gonna be with one another. But the maid and the and his mama, they are like not with it for her because they're like, girl, you don't even like you sitting here trying to be with this man and you're just a replacement and all this other stuff. They give this girl a real hard time and all this. So
Mm-hmm.
they still having sex, steady having sex. They doing a bunch of other stuff, and she ended up being pregnant. And so they before she confirmed that she was pregnant, I'm just skipping all the way there, girl, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they end up taking the test because she was like feeling real sick, and she was like, "This is crazy." So he's like, "If you pregnant,
And he
girl."
already knew she was pregnant. He was like, "You pregnant? Your pussy feel different."
Right. And he was like, so if you pregnant, we gonna get married. And she's like, I mean, okay, whatever. And so she ended up being pregnant. So they were like, great, we're gonna get married. So and she was down with it. Well, homeboy's mom was like not with it. She was so upset about it because she's like, you don't even know the type of mess, like type of man this guy is. Like you don't know nothing about him.
Mm-hmm.
And the mom was like, well, what's his favorite color? She said pink, just like my pussy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my
She did.
story. I was telling my mom the story and I was telling her about that line. And she was like, oh, girl, I told her about the whole book. And she's like, girl, that sounds so good. She's like, is it a TV? No, mama, it's a book.
You know what's so funny is that I was talking to Kevin about it, and I was like, I'm reading some of them books is almost like a Timu movie, like a
A
not a
Tubi
Timu,
movie.
a
A Tubi,
Tubi movie. I
yeah.
said, but the difference is that you can make your own acting in your mind, and if you watch a Tubi movie, bad acting is just bad acting.
Yeah. You can't create anything outside of what it is.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, so that's happening. So now they're
Yeah.
pregnant,
So
they're
her.
engaged. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, girl.
Now they're engaged. They're planning all the things, and D'Amico hasn't been spotted for a minute, and so his
Well,
fiance.
D'Amico still try to come
Yeah,
around
so he
because
still
when they
go ahead.
when they was like going through the motion, like getting happy with each other, the mama was hating because the mama didn't want. it's not that her mom didn't like her. She kind of knew that her son was mental, and she didn't want him going with her, whatever. And then the maid was also not wanting her to be around because the maid raised Brielle, his ex-wife. So when she was talking about this ex-wife, she'd be like, "That dead bitch." She would. Now I didn't like the way she talked about the damn dead wife. She
Well,
would talk.
she talked about her crazy. She did, but it was partly because he would do some stuff that was like real out the way. And then she would turn around and say something real wild. And it's like, girl, you're gonna have to go to hell. But you could
Yeah, yeah,
have,
she did. She went to hell a couple
she
of times.
did. She absolutely did. But
Mm-hmm.
he always talked negatively about it. But one of the things with Billion was he kept on the housekeeper because and paid for her, the housekeeper and her mom or something like that. The housekeeper and somebody, he kept taking care of them after Brio had passed because that's
The housekeeper and her mom.
her mom, right?
Yeah, she didn't even need the money.
She didn't even need money. So, but he was like, I'll
Mm-hmm.
take care of them just because I'll take care of them. Homegirl was greedy. Okay. Greedy.
Yeah, yeah.
He was like, I'm gonna take care of them no matter what. But so that housekeeper ain't had nothing for old girl until a little bit later on where she ended up apologizing and being like, hey girl, my bad. Like I just thought, this. I thought she was after him for his money, not realizing that homegirl is also very loaded and didn't need his money no way.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Right,
and so she was like, no hard feelings, girl, but try me again and see what the fuck happened. And she was like, say less.
right.
The mama still kind of gave her a hard time up to a certain point until she met Giovanna's mom, and then Giovanna's mama and Billion's mama got actually kind of a little bit cool.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So it had been a time that he bought her that necklace.
oh yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, tell about the necklace.
Okay, so when she had this necklace that was a remembrance of her daughter that had passed, and
Mm-hmm.
I think she like lost it or it fell off or something like that, but she had the chain, and so for a gift, Billion ended up getting a new one made for her, and she posted it on
Mm-hmm.
media, and the ex-man saw it and was like talking mess and was like, "I knew you been fucking with him from the beginning,
That
mom."
baby went in mine.
Yeah, he called her so many
Mm-hmm.
crazy things, and she was just like, anyway, like she didn't even she wasn't really pressed about it. And he's like, if I see you again, I'm gonna hurt you, I'm gonna kill you, da 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 da, like all this stuff, talking mess. Well, Billion had access to her social media accounts, and he's seen all this. Mind you, homeboy is
Mm-hmm.
up up in the things of the things
Of the things.
of the things, and so he was like,
So
I'm gonna
he was like, D'Amico was like a middleman,
yeah, D'Amico,
and
and
Billion was a kingpin. Okay.
yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, that's cool. We gonna handle that situation. She don't gotta know nothing about it. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. So he's seeing all these messages and all these threats that are coming towards her and seeing how she's responding. And homegirl's like not pressed, right? So he ends up saying he gonna come out there or something like that. Something ends up happening. Well, he ended up coming, and then nobody else hears from him again. And his fiance is like, "You see my man?" And she hits her up on the mess like on social media. And she's like, girl, ain't nobody worried about you, man. And he's like, he told me
Right.
that you obsessed with him, that you followed him, and da 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 da. Which is so crazy because it's like, girl, if you would have took 2 seconds to just think, she left. Homeboy followed her to Atlanta. She did all this
Right.
stuff. He followed her around. He kept bothering her. He kept hitting her up. Like he was clearly pressed and lying to that girl.
Right. Right.
But she was my man, my man, my man. So
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was cheating on her left and right. And she was feeling stupid because, yes,
Excuse me. Sorry.
no, you're good.
Yeah. So he ended up getting snatched up by Billion and his crew, and was put there in the basement. I don't know what it was at. Something hid away somewhere. And Billion still not kind of right on his psyche. Because he went real bad, but he ticked a little bit.
He should have been medicated.
Yes, yes, yes. I think he took that medication when he wanted to.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. And so which side note, I think Miss Lady P got something like there's another book that has 5 books that I listened to. 5.
Oh,
And one of the brothers had a mental like illness the same way too. So he ended up taking D'Amico into some place, and he ended up like saying, "Just tell her you sorry." And D'Amico was like, "Okay, I'm sorry. Damn." He was like, "You ain't mean that," and shot him in the face.
And that was that on that on that.
That
And
was that on that.
nobody saw him again.
Okay, so real quick, I want to do some quick backstories with these other characters because they kind of mixed in together. But I'm gonna tell one. I want you to tell one. Okay.
Okay.
So There's three stories in the story that we need to talk about. One is Mona Lisa. So Mona Lisa had a husband. She ended up going to the mall with her cousin Gia and seeing her husband with another girl. So she played it cool. She don't even say nothing to her. She ended up to going to the club that night with her cousin, getting drunk, leaving with one of Billion's homeboys.
Mhm.
So she ended up having sex with this man and staying with him for the weekend.
Oh yeah, that was a crazy ass
She
story.
did not go home. Now she got 3 kids by this man. She did not
Well,
go home.
she had been fine. She had known that this man had been cheating on her, and she was tired of his shit.
Right. But she was going to go home that morning, but ended up not going home the weekend. So she ended after the wonderful sex she was having all weekend. When I tell you he was beating that back end, okay? And she ended up going home. And when she got home, her husband had their couch. And in my mind, I envisioned I don't know why I was thinking a sectional kind of thing turn.
Okay. Like
Anyway,
freezing the door.
he was sitting on a sectional just waiting for her.
Yeah.
And they got into it, and she told him she wanted a divorce. She knew about the other girl. She was tired of him cheating on her over and over and over again. And he was like, "You ain't going nowhere. You ain't taking my kids nowhere." He pulled out a gun, and they got the tussling, and the gun went off, and then he got shot in the stomach. So then, she ended up going to jail for that. When she went to jail, her uncles them ended up getting her out because they found a um a tape, I mean, or the camera, the video footage at the house of what happened. That's how she got
Um,
ended up getting out. Anyway, so she ended up getting out, and she ended up with was a side. Who was the man she was with? Side, I think.
so Saad, I think
It,
is
wa-
right.
who was the other dude?
It was
Anyway, she ended up with billionaire's right hand man or whatever.
yeah.
But
Forgot
what she didn't know is that right hand man was gonna kill that nigga anyway.
had plans because homeboy had been
He
popping too much
already,
shit.
yes, he had already been talking that shit, and he planned to be with her, and he meant to keep her there the whole weekend. He just didn't know it was gonna pop off like that, but he was gonna. He could. She kind of did him a favor by getting him out the way because he was gonna kill him
Yeah,
anyway.
right.
And he ended up kind of being good to her kids out there. And he was like, "Girl, look," and she was like sad and depressed. So he was like, "Look, girl, you got kids, we got kids at this point. Stop all that sappy shit. That nigga dead, and we're gonna be together."
And they did
That's
just
the
that.
kind of Yeah, that was kind of the end to her story. Now, can you tell the other story with Jaya? Do you know? Remember?
Oh, yes. Okay, so Jaya is, I forgot is she the friend or the cousin of
Jaya is a friend.
the friend? So Jaya had her own, so Jaya has a daughter, and one of Billion's men is the baby daddy, but he never knew that that was his kid. So they were at something one day, and she ended up being like, "Hey, bro, this your daughter. I know you gave me
She
money to get an
five.
abortion, huh?
She five.
She's 5.
Yeah.
She's a whole walkie-talkie human being with thoughts and emotions.
Mhm.
And she was like, "Hey, this is your daughter. I should have told you. I know you told me to get an abortion, but I took the money and I started a whole new life." And he was like, "Bitch, you got me fucked up, but okay, I'm gonna be in my daughter's life. I wish I would have known." And she's like, "I assumed that you didn't want to be in the daughter's life because you told me to get an abortion." And he's like, "Yeah, but I didn't think you really cared about me like that." So they had history. And so they ended up, he wanted to be in the daughter's life. So they start, hanging out, hanging around each other. And, things are happening. One thing's leading to another. And he started to catch feelings. She started to catch feelings. They decided to be a family.
the end for that story.
For that
There was
story.
a whole nother. The last story I want to tell you is about the mama. So the mama.
Wait, who's mom? Wait, who's mom?
Her. Okay, you tell the story.
Wait, whose mom are you talking about?
Her mama, Giovanna mama,
Okay, go ahead,
and
go
her
ahead, go
daddy,
ahead.
and then the stepmom. No, you go ahead. You tell.
Okay, so Gia, because I thought she was talking about Billion's mom, because that was a whole story in itself.
Oh yeah, but we'll get down to that later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Giovanna's mama, so okay. Giovanna's mom and her dad, they had history, whatever, whatever. And the lady that he was with, Dana, she she ended up being the girl that he had been cheating on the mama with. Well, when she came down, because now that Giovanna's pregnant and all that stuff, the mom was like, I'm gonna come down here, I'm gonna live out here so we could be cool, everything will be good. Well, she been fucking the daddy still behind everybody back, even though he
Mm-hmm.
with the new wife.
Mm-hmm. And on some aha, I'm gonna get you bad hoe type stuff.
A hot mess, man. A hot mess. Ooh, that
Mm-hmm.
was so messy. So messy. And she ain't had no shame. She was like, and I did. Okay.
Yeah, she was like, "You took my husband from me."
She's like, it shouldn't be a problem. We share, girl, sister wives. Like a mess. A mess. I don't remember if there was anything else with them.
No, I think they kind of just decided to cool it because her mama was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do better. I ain't gonna do it no more."
Yeah.
Type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But the daddy wasn't
Oh,
right
and
because like why was he still engaging in that? Like
and he would have continued
had
had the mama would have kept going.
yep, he sure would have. He sure would have. A mess. A mess. All right. So that's
And the friend is called. His name is Deuce. Deuce.
Deuce. Which friend?
Deuce was the Deuce is who was with Mona Lisa.
Oh, okay, okay. And it was Saad, the one that was with Jaya.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Hmm.
that makes sense. Okay, so where are we at now? All right, so she's pregnant.
So
Go ahead.
so kind of where I wanted to end up at is that she was getting this house built, but she was mad at him about something.
Oh, she was mad at him because while they was having sex, he called out old girl's name and oh no. Well, that did happen, but I don't remember if that's why she was mad, but she found she found she got mad at him a lot actually. She was mad at him because he was
She
calling out
did.
his deceased wife's name. She was upset because he was talking to like a picture or something of her and was like saying how
He had a
he'll
whole
always
room.
yeah, that he'll always be in love with her and that nobody will compare. So she felt some type of way about that as she was carrying this man's seed. And she was like, I don't want to
Hmm.
carry this baby no more, blah, 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 blah. This is, whatever. And then she got mad
Hmm.
at him again. Well, he actually got mad at her, but she found Brielle's diary or journal or whatever and was reading it. And he really felt some type of way about it because he thought that she was trying to use it to get, like, to be like her and not be her own, like love him for her own way. And she was like, that wasn't the case, but they couldn't communicate. So it was just really bad. They got
Hmm.
real bad. So, but yeah,
Yeah, I think that's why she ended up leaving is because he seen that diary in her pocketbook.
yeah, yeah.
And they got into it and then she ended up leaving for a couple of days and she flew back to Chicago and all that stuff. And when she came back, fully like really ready to like still be like she had a whole conversation with his wife and everything. What's wrong?
Because I'm thinking about this whole scene because it was so messy.
Oh, no, she had like a full like conversation with Brielle at the
Oh,
gravesite.
because wait, no, remember she oh wait, no. Didn't she like something happened to her medically and she like almost died and then she saw Brielle in
Yeah, that was like wasn't that later? Wasn't that when she was having the kids?
you right. You right. You right.
Yeah, she ended up going back home because she was mad about that. She talked to her daughter, ended up talking to Brielle. Was like, you know what, girl, I'm gonna do right by him. So she ended up going back, and then like they got into it about that, and then she was like, "Where you taking me?" And he was like, "To your new house or whatever." So he ended up taking her to a brand new house. Ended up leaving the old mansion to the maid.
But let's not forget though, when there's a situation where she came back into town from something and she goes see him at wherever he's at and he had another bitch in the house and the homegirl was booty butt naked. Come to find out that was his therapist and she in
Oh
order to help
yeah,
him
he
heal.
gave. Yeah. So my question is, did he do that for her and then still went to his own place?
No, that's following. So when she came back into town, it's because well, when she came back into town, it was for the first incident, but when she got back and she saw him with the girl, that's when she disappeared for a little bit. But then they ended up making up and then he showed her the house. But that whole situation was crazy in itself because he had been fucking on his therapist because she was using sex to try to help him with his stuff. Only and his Brielle was just letting it happen because she was just like, he gonna do what he gonna do. And Giovanna was like, not for that. She's like, I don't know what the fuck you thought this was, but this bitch, no. No. And then
Right.
say this story right now because it's important and it's important enough to talk about it. That
Mm-hmm.
bitch comes around later on in the story, which it happens later on in the story, but his therapist come back and try to be like, "Hey, I'm pregnant," and he's like, "No, the fuck you're not." And she's like, "I'm pregnant, and we're gonna have a kid." Mind you, I mean not Brielle, Giovanna's pregnant at this point, like pregnant, and so he's like, "That's not even true," blah blah blah. So he ended up kind of getting a way to get her to come with him to a place, and he ends up killing her. That was like a whole thing, but
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, there is a lot of side stories. You're right.
It's a lot of side stories.
There
Yeah.
is, because we still ain't even got to the part about his mama and his grandma and his daddy.
Right. So let's get to that now.
Girl.
So after they got into it and got back together again for the 14th millionth time, because it was so much going back and forth. And what I do know is that it was like this in another book too. So this must be her thing.
Yeah.
So
They
they
talk
they
to each
just can.
other. I'm like, can we get some people that know how to communicate? Because it would have took one
Hmm.
conversation.
So they end up getting into it again and then getting back together for the 15th time. And then she was like, he told her he was going to Legos. And she was like, well, I'm going with you. He was like, no, you ain't. She was like, yes, I am. So they end up going to Legos together. And it was something because his mama, she a gangster. She a gangster. The
Yeah.
the mama had some business. And so when they was there in Legos, like she was asleep and woke up and the mama and he was arguing. She was like, why you bring her here? You know how many people want to kill her now because they know she here? Are you crazy for bringing her? So I guess that's when she kind of knew that his mama didn't always hate her too.
Yeah. Well, she was having her grandkid. Well, so by this point they know they're having twins. But
Hmm.
she was having their grandkid.
Not twins, triplets.
Oh, triplets. That's right. That's right.
Hmm.
That's right. Yeah, that's wild. I'd be so mad. Oh, I'd be so mad.
Yeah, so they got into it. So when she came downstairs, because his mama was him and his mama was into it. She was like, you know what? You the cause. You the reason why he mental like this. Brielle was right. It wasn't he ain't mental. It's you that's making him mental. You not good for him.
You keep hiding stuff from him. Like he's a grown man. You start telling him stuff, especially because he running all this. You keeping him in the
Hmm.
dark.
So even though she was 3 months pregnant, they got the fight in her hand, and she was beating up on that damn mama.
And was and was winning.
And then he was like, he kind of tore them apart, was like cleaning her up, and he was laughing because he was like, I ain't never seen nobody fight my mama. I think that's kind of hilarious.
Yeah,
So,
that's wild.
what happened after that?
All right, so they get into it. She fight the mama. They end up being like, "All right, cool. We gonna have to have some type of respect." Because she was like, "You're not about to sit here and talk to me crazy in my house." And she like, "Girl, you got me messed up." So then they start fighting. Anyway, that was resolved or whatever. And the business that they had was to meet with homeboy's grandma.
Oh, yeah, and the daddy came around, didn't
Yeah.
he? Abraham.
So now Abraham, yeah. So now she's like, hey, this your daddy, this your grandma. and the grandma's like, hey, you got all this claim for all the stuff that's here in Lagos. Like, this is all of yours because it was left to you. Your dad was exiled, so he don't get none of this stuff, but it's in your name. And he like, I ain't know nothing about this, but like, okay, I guess. And so the mom had already kind of mentioned, like, made it seem like the dad just didn't want to be involved or was kind of gone or whatever, whatever. But there was a whole story to that. So the reason why she dipped out because it was where the dad had one view of it and she had another view of it, only to find out
Mm-hmm.
the reason why the things happened the way that it was is because Abraham's dad was abusing Billion's mom, and
Mm-hmm.
like she ended up having to leave because she was like, I can't. But the grandma knew about it and didn't say nothing. But the Abraham didn't know that. He didn't know none of this, so he found
Right.
out at this trip. And he's like, that's so crazy. Like, why didn't nobody say anything? But Billion didn't know that. So not Brielle, Gianna knew about that, but Billion hadn't found all of that information out yet.
Mm-hmm.
He just
And
knew that was his grandma, and he had all the stakes and the claim to all that stuff.
right, and it was messed up because they kind of kicked his daddy out because of what his daddy was doing to her. And
Yep,
he didn't want them to find out. So that's why he kicked the daddy out
yep,
of the like, yeah.
everything. Yeah. So that ends up coming out later on. And they find out as to why and all that good stuff. So he's like, Billion's like, I don't really want any of this. Like, thank you, but he can have it.
Yeah, I'm good. I got bread.
Yeah, he's like, I'm good. I got more than what I need. He's like, this is honestly his stuff to begin with. I didn't want it. I didn't even know it existed. So,
Yeah,
that's
let him have it.
so that's like that. So they come back to the state to Atlanta. They living out their things. Something happens though because he gets hurt real bad. Where she's about to
Well,
have babies. So she's about to have the babies and it's real rough. It's a real rough birth. And so homegirl's like losing blood. She's not looking great at all. And so she sees her baby and all this, her baby that had passed. She sees all this stuff and she ends up coming back. She's fine. She's got her three babies. The one baby, what's the little boy that was doing kind of rough?
the let me see, I wrote it down too.
It was two girls and a boy, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a boy. The boy did good. His name was Billionaire Balmain Jr. Then she had Giovanna Brielle Balmain, and then she had Brianna Ariala or whatever Balmain, which I
Yeah.
thought was cute that um she gave the other little girl the the wife that passed away's name
Yeah.
because when she was not doing well and she almost flatlined on them, she actually got to talk to Brielle, and
Yep.
Brielle had her daughter. That was so sweet.
It was really sweet. That whole scene, I could like see it. I was like, that is so,
Yes, yes.
it was
And
really,
Brielle was like, "Girl, go back. We're not ready for you.
we're not ready for you yet.
I
Go
got,
take care of him.
yeah,
Take care of these babies.
yeah. I got you there for a reason. I got your baby. Don't worry about her." And it was a beautiful scene, y'all.
It was a really beautiful scene.
Mhm.
So that happens. She ends up going home, taking care of the baby. She's like, they're really enjoying their life together, all this stuff. Well, then something ends up happening where Balmain ends up getting shot. And
Yeah, something happened. They was both in the car together.
yeah, I can't remember what it was, but he ended up getting shot. Anyway, he in a bad situation. He's not looking good. Homeboy is on his way out. And he ends up seeing Brielle as well. And he's like, "Oh, I just want to be here, da 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 da, all this other stuff." And she's like, "It's not your time either. You got these babies to take care of. Like, take your ass back, and it'll be fine.
Take care of your wife.
Take care of your wife and take care of them three babies." And so
Hmm.
coming back and everything's like okay, but he's like everybody's kind of like shaken after that because they're like, "Who would do this? Why would they? Why would anybody try to harm me? Like, what's going on?" So initially he thought it was the grandma and the daddy. Um,
Hmm.
and then they was trying to figure that out. But the grandma and the daddy were already coming into town. So they came and they was talking mess to, or not talking mess, but they were talking to one another. And Balmain was pretty much like, "Hey, I already know what happened between my grandpa and my mama, and grandma, you out of line for that mess. You are absolutely wrong. So daddy, I'm gonna say this again. You can have all that shit, but you in order to prove your loyalty to me, you need to kill her." He said, "Give me the gun. Give me the gun. Give it here. Give it here.
Shot her ass in the face.
Give it here." He said, "Bow, bow, bow. What else do you need? That's it?
Right,
Can I
right,
go?"
right.
So
Wait, before you get all the way there, because we there.
I,
Let me go back to when she was having these babies. After he found after a billion found out she was good and everything, he had to go and like clean up at home. Like they see him home. So when he went out, guess it was in the parking lot. The therapist. The
oh yeah,
therapist.
yeah. I talked about that a little bit earlier because I did it too early, but yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you told the end. Oh, you did tell the end. My bad.
Yeah, because I just brought it up earlier because I was just like, sorry.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I
So
did
my
that last
bad.
year.
Y'all know about what happened to the therapist. It was a whole scene too. But
A
go back.
whole,
Yeah, he ended up shooting his own mama in the face, and he had the whole thing.
But he still needed to figure out who was behind the him getting shot at and almost dying. Come to find out, it was the housekeeper and the housekeeper's mom. After all that, he was taking care of them, doing all that, doing right by them, and they tried to kill him
Right.
off because that lady was greedy. Not the housekeeper, but the mom of the house.
The lady was greedy,
So they ended up
and he
killing
knew.
him.
Yeah, and he knew the lady was, and he didn't. No, no, no. He did not kill him. His OG killed
True,
them. His
true.
mama killed them because they were look. They was in like a little mission. They went in the tunnel and everything in this property. And when they got there, the mama was already there cracking her neck.
Yeah, because the mom had already peeped game. She was like, I already know who this is. So she was like, I'm gonna take care of this for my son because my son not about to be out here looking crazy. And when he showed up, she was like, Mama, you should have shot me a text. We could have tag teamed. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, yeah. She like I envisioned her with a cigarette hanging down her mouth, like I got this.
I got
You
this.
know.
She's like, nobody's gonna mess with my son and my family. I was like, I know that's right, Mama.
Hmm.
So that happens. They have a brief period with the cops and trying to figure out what happened to D'Amico, and the fiance is looking for him and all this other stuff. And they ended up letting
Hmm.
him go because they realized that they had nothing to do with that, quote
Well,
unquote.
she had a meeting. She had a meeting. Giovanna had a meeting with her and
Hmm.
told her, "Look here, girl. Don't nobody know where your man is, and if you keep coming around here, you're gonna end up dead." And that was it, like that. And she said, "Put that on tape." So
And she ain't had
she
she
ain't never come back around. That was the end of that
yeah, that was
chapter.
no more problems after that. She was good. She was I understand. Thank you. I apologize and I will be on my way.
Uh-huh.
He said, worry about the babies, girl. Don't worry about what I got
Yes,
over here. But yeah, that was they just lived their life raising them babies, and that's pretty much
that's
it.
it. That was the end of the story.
How did you feel about the story?
I really loved this story. It was so packed full of stuff. It was so good. And I am going to see you another story because I want you to listen to this on your own time.
Okay.
And you gonna fly through them.
Okay.
But I love the story so much. I loved it. Here's the thing I was thinking about. The grandma, we didn't mention this, but the grandma cooked spaghetti and fish. What do you think about spaghetti and fish? I know here in the South, this part of the South, when we had spaghetti, salad, corn, stuff like that. So, but what I found out from talking to another friend, spaghetti and fish is very much a thing.
Yeah. Spaghetti and fish is a thing, and then depending on where you're at in the country, most people do it in the Midwest. They do spaghetti and chicken.
Mm.
Like spaghetti is like a side and some
Ah.
yeah.
Well, it's spaghetti. When they say spaghetti, it's a spaghetti with the ground beef too,
I don't so
as a
that
side.
I don't know. I think some people do spaghetti with meat sauce and fish, and then some people just do
Mm-hmm.
spaghetti with the sauce and chicken. I don't know if they do meat
Mm.
in the spaghetti, but if they do, balling. Because the way that this food is set up, y'all using two meats on one meal.
Right, right. That sounds like it'll tear your stomach up.
Girl, what? Mixing the meats like that? Mm.
Yeah, not for me. But a lot of people say they do. I don't know. Fish is very light, a light meat.
Yeah.
So who knows? I don't know. It ain't definitely my thing, but I wouldn't be opposed to trying it.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna make some fish probably tomorrow. I got some to throw in the air fryer.
Mm,
I made some
hmm
yesterday. I had some fish and grits yesterday. It was fire.
I don't believe it. I love me some fish and grits,
Oh, me
but I
too.
put a little sugar in my grits.
I do not mess with no sugar.
I know Kevin don't either, but it's my thing. Like my family do it, and it's something about the sweet and salty.
It's the great debate, girl. It is the great
Yes, it
debate.
definitely is. It definitely is.
Yeah.
But oh, we should ask our people. How y'all eat y'all
I got
fish
eat y'all
with
grits with
spaghetti?
sugar or salt and butter.
That too. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and the chicken and chicken and spaghetti and fish and spaghetti. I'll try to put a poll or something up and see if people will respond to the poll.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Anyway, how you feel about the story?
Oh yeah, yeah. I like the story. It was very action packed. It had a lot of stuff that was going on, and it was constant. But for all the stuff that was happening, because it was right out the gate, like from the very beginning, it was a mess.
Yes,
And
from the first
the first
page.
page, you're like, oh, okay, this is crazy. Um,
Hmm.
I liked how much was in it, and I liked how it didn't seem like it was too much. And the chapters, it was only what, like 25 chapters or something like,
Yeah,
but I thought it was really good. I was entertained the entire time. Like when I started the book,
the entire time.
could not stop.
Yeah,
Because it was
yeah.
just wild. It was just something after something after something. I was just like, dang. And then I just couldn't get
Hmm.
over their whole dynamic because I was like, these people are crazy. But she was a little bit crazy. He was a little bit crazy. So it worked. But
Hmm.
it was just wild. Like I had agreed to marry this man before she even found out what he did for a living. She didn't know her own daddy
Right.
business. So, you know,
Yeah, she was in La La Land a
he
lot
was
of
the
times.
lala man. Like you ain't asked this man how he made all this money. Like I know
She
that
didn't care because she had all her money.
that's what I'm talking about. Her daddy. She didn't ask her daddy, like, Daddy, what do you do for a living? Like,
But she peeped game when she first got there. Her grandma gave her $100,000.
yeah, because she like, girl, Daddy already set up
Mm-hmm.
the bank account with, I think he set her up with a bank account with like 1 million or something in it. It was a lot of money. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so she was like, Grandma, why are you giving me? And Grandma was like, it's a sign of disrespect if you don't take this money from me. She was like, girl, say less. Thank you. I'll go ahead and deposit.
Baby, that grandma was an OG too.
Listen, Grandma done seen some things, okay?
Yeah, yeah, most definitely.
But I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked how it was written, and I always like reading urban books because it just feels like I just like how the language used in it is very much AAVE, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
And
good.
we really don't do a lot of urban books either. And we're gonna start packing them in there too because
Girl,
it's
I
so many
please,
good ones.
please, because I absolutely loved reading this book. I got through it so fast that I was like, dang. And then I've been telling everybody about it because it's just been so crazy. I have. I've just been like, girl, in this book, the this, and this. I told my mom, I told Shelby, I told anybody that would listen, honestly.
Hmm. And there, a lot of her stories are free.
Yeah, I saw that because I had saved a couple more for stories.
Yeah, guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I'm gonna be reading them all. Yeah.
Well, our next book is Hooked, ain't it?
Yes, which I am reading now and I love it. I love
I
it.
know you do.
I'm really interested. I just got to the part where, anyway, I like it a lot. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how this goes because I mean, I have an idea of how it's gonna go because it definitely is giving like, I don't know why I feel like that.
Right, right. Of course. Of
So
course. It's so good.
it is really good. But
Yeah.
all right, well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. Um, follow us on all of our socials, share, like, subscribe to all of the things. And if you have any
Mm-hmm.
recommendations for books, we still have our form that you can fill out and request different books. It doesn't have to be fanfics. It can be any type of story that you may want us to read and review. So send us that information, or you could just DM us. That's a possibility as well. So
Yeah, we definitely do for new fanfics, so send them.
send them. Yeah, there's been a couple of fanfics that have been recommended to us that are not finished. And so for anybody that recommends a story, if it's not completed, if it's on like Wattpad or something like that, if it's not completed, we're not gonna read it.
Right, it got to be completed because we ain't wasting our time getting in your story to wait the next week for an update.
Especially because some of
We
the
not
stories be so good and then you don't even know what happened.
right because that last story you sent me is going to be a good story,
Yeah.
but it's updating.
Yeah. That one, is that the one that the girl sent us in on Instagram?
I think so. The one you told me about, it's on my
Okay.
pad.
Yeah. 'Cause I
Hmm.
was gonna say somebody sent us their book, but I was like, I don't remember. I don't remember. Girl,
If you have a good fanfic, send it to us because we need a new good one. And not only that, baby, it's 2025. The boys are getting out this year. Them fanfics are going to be on fire. I feel like people slowed down for a little bit, but they about to pick back up with this
that's a pick
fandom.
right back up and we cannot wait.
We can't wait because it's about to really be on fire. So I
Yeah.
really watched God Save and Come Back, and it kind of got on fire a little
Did
bit. So
it?
I'm excited to what is going to happen when BTS get it.
I
All
can't
that.
wait. I'm so excited. I went down a BTS deep dive the other day just watching old music videos.
I've been listening to all my K-pop all over again.
Oh,
So I'm excited.
yeah, same. All right, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next
Bye.
time. Bye.